platform.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the CISSP webinar, How to Pass CISSP in 90 Days. We'll wait for some time so that everyone can join. And just wait for, yeah, everyone's joining. Let's wait for a few minutes, let others join. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Colonel Shivajit Na, bringing this webinar on LinkedIn and YouTube with one singular aim: how to pass CISSP in 90 days. It's doable. A lot of uh, our professionals have done it. Those who have trained with us, almost one last we counted was 80, but it's much more than 80. 80 is what we are aware of, but it's much larger, and uh, we think it's great that a lot of people are passing CISSP with us. So what I'm going to focus today on is you know purely on how to pass CISSP. First, I'll tell you a little bit about CISSP, how the exam is conducted, what are the requirements. I'll tell you that in a little while. But what's the approach for passing? Now, this exam can be passed by self preparation, by guided preparation, by a little bit of mentorship. You know someone who has already passed the CISSP, you can take that mentorship from there also. But one very critical point in preparation for this exam is you have to pass it within a very short duration of time. You cannot take a very long time to pass this exam because of two major reasons. First is we all are working professionals, and to dedicate time, that amount of time that is required for this exam, if you go beyond 90 days, what will happen is you are eating into your professional time, you're eating into your personal time, and then you will find burdened, right? And if you find yourself burdened, what will happen is you'll give up the preparation. So one very, very critical factor once you start preparing for this exam is to book the exam and clear it within 90 to 100 days. Cannot prolong that. But why do I say that? I say that because from my personal experience, I started looking at CISSP way back in 2012 when I was in the army, and I said, okay, uh, I would be leaving my armed forces professional career sometime in 2021 or 22. What should I do? How do I prepare myself? Because in the armed forces, we are very, very, we are a siloed organization. So I had to get back into what's happening in the outside world. I started researching, and I said that, okay, cybersecurity is something which interests me. And I've been in cybersecurity. I work with networks extensively, data centers, local data centers, cloud data centers. We had a private cloud. We did everything what's happening in the outside world today. Now, when we look at when I started preparing for CISSP, I started looking at CISSP. By the time I was very clear that I wanted to CISSP was already 2015. And then by the time I actually appeared for the exam was 2020. It took me 8 years to appear for this exam. So that's very funny. And when I speak to a lot of my mentees who come and join my course, they said, so I've been looking at CISSP for last 8 years, 7 years, 6 years. I said, that's the problem. Why are we looking at this exam as a 6 year, 7 year long time frame? Because there's a lot of, uh, you know, I will say, air around this exam. Of course. Why? Because it's a gold standard. It was a gold standard in US. Now it's a gold standard in India. I see all senior professionals gunning for CISSP, and finding out that time to dedicate to yourself is very difficult with our professional and personal lives. Someday we'll have to attend a marriage, someday kid's birthday or something or other, some commitment will come on. So how do we structure this preparation in 90 days that we pass this exam? And that's what the main aim is you want to give this exam, you want to pass this exam within 90 days, not less than that, is not more than 90 days. Why? Because that's what statistics, I go with data, right? And data proves 90 days is a doable time frame for this exam. A lot of people have passed in 60 days, a lot of someone has passed in 17 days, someone has passed in 90 days, someone has also passed in 100 days, and there are people who have passed after 1 year also, because you know because uh, they took that 90 days period very late, right? So how to stay committed, Tony? I will definitely come to you. We will make something called atomic habits. A small start initially and then slowly climbing up, right? So how to pass CISSP 90 days? I developed a strategy very very keeping in mind something called the uh, you know granular strategy, which we follow in the armed forces. So what we do is, whenever we are preparing for an exam, uh, unfortunately, when I joined armed forces, I thought, oh, done with studies, all I have to do is now fight a battle, and just roll on guns. And then I landed up in a technical arm where I had to do a BTech, I had to do a master's, I had to do so many courses, there are so many upgradations which I had to do, and it was all studies. But military has a very good system. Military systems are very time bound, you have to do within that time frame. So if you have to clear an exam, like we had a very prestigious competitive exam called the Defense Services Staff College, for which we used to prepare for 6 months, 6 to 8 months, and it had 6 exams the size of CISSP. And that is from where I derived the CISSP passing strategy. I said we can apply what we learned best in the military and apply it in to CISSP to pass this exam within 90 days. Three structured revisions, three structured revisions. That's what I focus in. You need three revisions. Without three revisions, you cannot pass this exam, right? And why three revisions? Three revisions is because, firstly, this exam tests your concept. This exam does not test your cramming power. Please do not cram for this exam. Unlike any other certifications, CISA, CISM, CCNA, CCIE, even OSCP for that matter, right? There's a lot of cramming required, steps learning required, right? This exam tests your, ability to apply security concept from a leadership level, right? Now, how do we do that? Why do we do that? Because the earlier security approach was you cannot get breached. Well, if that's the aim, uh, I will say that that's wrong. We will get breached. We do get breached every day, day in, day out. What we are looking at is uh, breaches will happen. Okay, what is the risk to the business, right? Opening that port on the firewall by the network security team, is it really so bad, right? So many times we as security professionals, we are saying, we give a complete no, this is security wise not a best practice. No, we're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to analyze the risk. What is the risk? Is that risk manageable? And if this risk is manageable, can I let the business work and produce revenue, and I manage that risk? That's the mindset. And I'll be honest, when I was a security professional in the army, there was no room for error, and therefore we were completely no. And that would not run good with the operational guys. They will say, well, we need it. If we need it, why are you stopping us? So that mindset change happened once I did CISSP, right? And a lot of security guys who are hands on still do struggle with the concept of that if I do this, this is bad for security. But why are we doing this? Because that's a business need. Can we, as a CISO or a security manager, analyze the risk and apply that? That's the main aim. That's the thought process, right? Now, when I say revenue, not all organizations are revenue centric. Some organizations may also be result centric, like armed forces. We have to protect the borders. So revenue was not a question, right? Maybe budgets were never a major issue. Okay. You want the latest firewall, it will come. You want something, it will come. So There are organizations where budgets will be constrained. There are organizations where budgets will not be constrained. There are organizations will be driven by compliance, right? So compliance heavy organizations are also something which we need to understand, that what drives our business revenue. Is it compliance which drives the business revenue, or compliance is something which helps us in managing the risk, right? So once I looked at all these management level, senior level aspects, I realized that the technical guys somehow had a gap. The tech guys remained at the tech silos, and the management had, revenue in the mind, and the tech guys had security in the mind. CISSP bridges that, right? Can you think from the tech perspective and the management perspective is what CISSP is all about, right? So how to pass this exam in 90 days, right? Before I delve upon that, what I would like to say is, yes, you need a study plan, but a very, very concentrated and a time bound study plan. So, what I do is I divide our preparation structure into three clear cut preparation levels, right? Three boxes. Now, this is the D Day approach which Armed Forces follows. This is your CISSP exam, right? We have a 40-day approach where we cover the uh, you know, core concepts and the domains, which is the 8 domains of CISSP. This generally takes roughly around 40 days. Somebody is able to do it in 40 days. Somebody is able to do it in 45 days. But roughly 40 to 45 days is what the first preparation. 40 to 45 days is what the first preparation cycle takes, right? Then we move on to the next cycle of preparation where we put another, say, around 30 days, right? And then we repeat. So this repetition becomes your second iteration. This is your first iteration, and this becomes your second iteration, right? When you move from the first cycle to second cycle, you have to clearly demarcate two things. What are your strength areas, and what are your weak areas? Now, why do I say that? Now, if you look at the exams uh, adaptive engine, okay, it's based on something called response theory, right? It's a very standard algorithm which is used in uh, computer adaptive tests. It's called a response theory. You can go and search it up. Response theory has questions which are weighted. Okay, so what happens if once you give a answer and you do a wrong answer, what is the weightage of that question? If the weightage of the question is easy and you do it wrong, that means your concepts are weak, right? And if it is a difficult question and you do it right, that means your concepts are better, right? So what happens is this becomes a very, very dynamic exam once you appear for this. And the dynamicity of this exam is that exam tries to find your weak areas. And therefore, when you are preparing for this exam, you need to strengthen your weak areas, right? So once you move from your first iteration to second iteration, what you are enforcing reinforcement strategy is, your reinforcement strategy should be only on your weak areas. You don't reinforce your strong strength areas. Do we ever reinforce our strength areas? No. If you are a network professional, you've been working in network security, why should you reinforce your network security portion, right? So this is something which we need to keep in mind, and we have to focus. You cannot apply yourself completely again and again on your strength areas. You have to leave out your strength areas, right? You have to only focus on your weak areas. And therefore, in the second iteration, whatever you've done in the first part, second iteration becomes a reinforcement theory for you. And then you go to your third iteration. And third iteration is where you again reinforce your weak areas. And this is where you do maximum amount of practice questions. Okay, right? Now, what are the sources for practice questions? I'll be honest. Cybex, fourth edition. That's it. If your concepts are clear and you do Cybex fourth edition once, and if you are scoring around 80% and above, that means you are more or less ready. That's an indicator for you that you are more or less ready. Please follow this strategy. That's more than enough. But you can follow this strategy if your concepts are very, very clear in information and cybersecurity, right? It's not a very deep down exam. It's a very, very high level exam, but it covers a lot of ground. And therefore, you have to cover this lot of ground thrice in next 90 days. That's the strategy. As simple as that, right? So how do we do that? How do we do this? So what we do is we break it down into very simple domains. So you have 8 domains. You have CISSP has 8 domains. Okay. And that is domain one is security and risk management. Okay. This you do for first 7 days. Okay. Then domain two is asset security. This requires roughly 3 days. Okay. Then domain three is one of the largest domains. This will require at least 10 days. Then domain four, which is communication and network security, is again a large domain. This will require around 7 days. Then domain five is again a smaller domain, which is identity and access management. This requires roughly 5 days. Because a lot of us may not have worked in IAM. IAM was a domain in which I also did not work much. Therefore, you require roughly 5 days of preparation for IAM. Then you have domain six, audit and testing, which requires around 3 days. Okay. Then we have domain seven, which is operations. This is slightly larger domain. This requires around 7 days. And then you have domain eight. Then we have domain eight, which requires another, 4 to 5 days. So in roughly your first preparation cycle will take you around 40 to 45 days. Okay. And what is the material you stick to? A single material. You do not go searching for material all over the world. You just stick to Cybex official guide, 10th edition. Okay. Just stick to this book. Don't go anywhere. 99% of people who have passed CISSP hold this as Bible. It's a very dry and a most pathetic book to read initially. I'll be honest with you. Right? It is one of the most driest of book I've ever read. But that's the threshold of passing CISSP. Right? Now, once you start preparing for CISSP, what will happen is you will see a bell curve, a very skewed bell curve. Right? Domain one is very easy. Domain two is easy. Domain three and four is where people struggle. And then the ride is easy. Domain five, six, seven, eight. Right? It could be in reverse order also. There are a lot of us who have not worked in audit, not worked in IAM, not worked in operations, not worked in software development security, system development security. It could be reversed also. Some people find 5, 6, 7, 8 very difficult, 1, 2, 3, 4 very easy. So, but it is a bell curve. For someone, it could be domain 3 and 4. For someone, it could be domain 7 and 8. But the distribution, the normal curve distribution of CISSP difficulty is roughly 40%. I'll say 40% is difficult and 60% is just damn easy. Right? So this is how you distribute your preparation. So, okay. So you make 40 to 45 days for first round of preparation. What do you do in the second round? Second round is where you might have made notes in the domain one and you have attempted Cybex 10th edition practice tests, which are 20 questions behind each chapter. And you will start forming a baseline of strength versus weakness. Okay. You will say out of 20 questions, I got these topics right and these topics wrong. You start building a database of that in an Excel sheet. Okay. So you know that these are the areas where I'm strong. I don't need to repeat it when I go in my second iteration. I only need to focus on my weakness areas. Right? That's very important. So in second iteration, what you actually do is your notes. Now, I found professionals were finding it very difficult to make notes. So I solved that problem. I made Cornell notes. Okay. And these are hit notes. I made it for free. It's available. I've sent a link. If somebody wants the link, Ghazal, you can send it across. uh, uh, those notes helped many professionals recently. I've made it almost 1.5 years now. They're aligned to the present CISSP uh, curriculum, and they are about to get printed also. I'm trying to get it printed and try to put it on Amazon. So second revision is where you refer your notes, and again you do question sets. So second revision generally takes around 20 to 30 days depending upon your preparation cycle. And in this preparation cycle, after this preparation cycle, what you do is, so the next 30 days you again prepare from your notes. You drill down on your weak areas. But this is where what you do is, after this, you do questions from domain 1 to 8 from Cybex 4th edition. These are roughly 800 odd questions. And if you are scoring above 80%, please book your exam. Those who have already booked the exam, great. Okay. If you have booked the exam, then you are already started preparing. That's the fire which will drive you. So if you are scoring somewhere around 80%, a lot of people ask me this question: when should I book the exam? Right? So yes, 80% you need to get a good uh, grasp on, okay, whether you are able to understand the topics. And after this, you can now explore many questions, as many questions as possible, and keep clearing out your weak areas. Okay. Now, I can name at least 10 people in my batches who have cleared this exam within 17 days also. Okay. uh, but I should not break the privacy of them. There are people who have passed this exam in 17 days also. So this one lady came to me and said, "Sir, I have only 17 days left. What should I do?" I said, "Well, all I can say is compress these 90 days into 70 days." She did 3 revisions in 17 days and she passed. Right? She had a 2-year-old kid. Right? So we follow these 3 revision iterations and keep fine tuning our strength areas, but keep working on our weak areas. That's what we do. Generally, if you follow this routine and you're able to stick to this routine, you can help it. You can stick to it and you can finish this exam in 90 days. I'm very sure of it. A lot of us have passed it. Right? Domains, I can cover what all domains are there. So, domain 1 is all about uh, security and risk management. And this is the driving domain, I must say. So what it covers is, it covers broadly 4 areas. It covers how to manage security, right? Uh, how to carry out risk assessment and what are the frameworks which are revolving around risk assessment. Then we look at compliance. What are the major compliances? And we also look at business continuity planning, because continuity of business is a major requirement. So these are the 4 things, 4 broad areas on which we focus. Business has to be managed as far as security governance is concerned. And how do you drive governance? By implementing risk management processes. Compliance is a major requirement today in security, and therefore, since your business has to be continuous, you need to have your business as a resilient organization. You need to go for understanding BCP, right? So this is domain 1. Then domain 1 has its uh, you know umbrella coverage over all the other domains. So when we go to domain 2, which is asset security, understanding what kind of assets are there in your organization which can affect information systems, looking at data, what are data loss prevention systems, and what is an asset management life cycle. Right? We mainly look at asset management life cycle. Very easy domain, right? We start understanding about ownership, custodianship, right? Different roles and responsibilities who are supposed to be there, well defined in an organization for asset management. And how do you manage assets from birth to death, to expulsion of that asset from the organization, right? So that's domain 2 for you, but driven by risk, right? So domain 1 will have its shadow on all the other domains. Domain 3 is a slightly technical domain, right, and covers a lot of ground. Physical security, it covers cryptography, it covers security engineering and architecture. It also covers certain modern uh, architectures. Uh, IoT, microservices, SOA, uh, modern DOT system, quantum, distributed architectures. It just touches upon slightly, right? Then we have domain 4, which is purely network and communication security. So those who are from coming from network backgrounds will not face any problems in that. Basic routing, basic IP addressing, what are the common protocols which run, what are the vulnerabilities in those protocols, how to manage networks, how to have how to manage security at network, what are the main protocols which run today to manage network security. Right. Then we have domain 5, which was a slightly new domain for me because in armed forces we didn't have a classical identity and access management solution. Of course, AD was there, but there are mature solutions now available. So for me, this domain was slightly new, and this covers how we manage identities and access. What are service accounts? I never knew about service accounts. Right. Today, service accounts is a major risk. API dependencies is a major risk. Identity of APIs. How do we manage API identities? Right. So service identities become a very, very critical issue today in security. And how do we manage identity and access? Uh, it covers broadly. It doesn't talk much about technology other than SSO. Single sign-on is something which it touches in a slightly more detailed, and federated identities. Federation of identities it touches. So this becomes a slightly technical for people who have not worked in identity and access management. Right. Then we have domain 6, which is about security testing and auditing. Domain 6 is about auditing and testing. No security program is good enough unless it's audited and tested, and therefore assessments and audits are very important part of security, right? So domain 6 touches about auditing, audit processes, type of audits, testing, VAPT, software testing. So all this is covered in domain 6. Then you come to domain 7, which is about whatever you've learned from domain 1 to domain 6 is operationalized in domain 7. Okay. What is the vulnerability management process? What is the configuration management process? What are change management processes? Patch management, incident response, right? Then we have DRP, right? So this becomes part of your security operations, because security operations is keeping the organization running with its security issues. And then we come to domain 8, which is systems development security. Because today, majority of security issues are driven from software. Ultimately, a protocol is software, right? So software brings us maximum amount of security risks, and therefore we need to understand how software is built. What is the life cycle concept of developing software? What are the common faults in softwares, web applications, which we should be aware of as information security professional? Now, whenever we take decisions across all these 8 domains, the decisions are always based on risk. That means domain 1, the decisions which we learn in how to take decisions in domain 1, they drive your balance of the requirements of domain of the other 7 domains, right? This is the key point which you have to remember once you're preparing for the exam, right? So there are enough resources outside, right? I have my complete course available on our portal as a e-learning module. I have it on YouTube, and I also do live courses. Now, why I always recommend a mentor-driven program is because what happens is, because I'm a very strict mentor, I'll be honest. I'll force you to come on class every Saturday, Sunday. I don't leave you, right? And you need to forget all commitments in these 90 days. Now, what is the time schedule that you require? I recommend roughly two hours daily, and weekends you can give 4 to 6 hours. This much preparation is more than enough, but you have to be consistent in these 2 hours. And I always say the best consistency can be brought in once you are early morning riser. If you can get up at morning 4 or 5, and if everybody is asleep, nobody is going to disturb you. 5 to 7, 4 to 6 are the best times for studying, right? Because by the time we are in the night we can't study. You should be fresh in your mind to study. And I also recommend people to do workout, because once you work out, your dopamine levels increase and your mind remains fresh. So it's always very necessary when you're preparing for CISSP, or even if you're not, you need to keep your mind as healthy as possible. You need to go for a small run or a walk, take that sweat out so that your mind can register all the concepts of CISSP. It's a difficult exam. It's a difficult preparation, but the fruit of this exam is very, very high. We all know why we are here. We know that CISSP is regarded as a gold standard. More than that, more than certification, I feel that once the CV comes and I see a CISSP, I know this guy can slog for 90 days nonstop. Right? That's one analysis which I do. There are a lot of online courses available. Study guide, I do recommend Cybex only. Don't go outside Cybex. Okay. Cybex 10th edition and 4th edition practice test are the go-to. If anybody tells you that no, 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 not required, that guy is bluffing. Okay, take my advice. You cannot pass this exam without going through Cybex 10th edition and Cybex 4th edition practice test. Very simple. There are a lot of online courses available. Practice tests are also available. I do recommend around 2 to 3,000. I did around 13 to 1400 questions, to be honest. But someone says 2,000. Someone. I think as long as your concepts are very clear and you followed how to clear out your strength and weak areas, you're good to go. Right. Yes, 5 practice tests is good to have 5 practice tests. It's already 5 practice tests are there in Cybex 4th edition. Do it in timed manner. You're good to go. Right. However, the mindset is the most important part, and that mindset needs to be built up. When you're going for CISSP, that mindset need to build up, and that mindset, I will say, it takes time to build up once you're preparing yourself. Because I prepared myself. I did not take any mentoring sessions, and it took me a long time to build my thought process and start thinking from the, senior leadership mindset, right? And that's where mentorship helps. That's where I can make you think like a manager, make you think like a CISO, right? Somebody is only 7 years of experience. A lot of students ask me, sir, but security wise, this is the right decision. I'll say, no, no, no. This is a risk driven decision, because a lot of people have been L1s, L2s, L3s, and they say, no, 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 in this particular situation, I should be doing this. Then I said, no, wait, look at the impact at the business level. Why your decision will impact the business, right? So these are the issues which you need to, keep in mind when you're preparing for this exam, right? Habit building is very important, so I do recommend building small habits slowly and steadily. Start with half an hour, then take it to 45 minutes, then take it to 1 hour, then take it to 2 hours. You can do this daily. If you form a habit, making habit is very, very important. Right. For exam, I feel if you are very well prepared, this exam generally people clear within 2 hours. They don't even have to go to 3 hours. I'll be honest. So time management is not an issue if you have prepared very, very thoroughly well. Right. This exam cannot be cleared with cramming power. If you are the one of the best crammers, you will fail within 100 questions. I'll be honest with you. If you think that I'll go all in and cram, do the questions thousands of times, and I'll pass, I'm sorry, you're done. You'll not pass this exam. Right. The only way in passing this exam is hardwiring yourself to the preparation. You have to prepare and you have to build that mindset. CISSP is all about building the mindset. Once you build the mindset, you will pass this exam. I'm done with whatever knowledge I had uh, to give it to you. I'm starting with my fresh batch, January 18th. It starts. It's a morning batch, India time, 7 to 11 a.m., Saturdays and Sundays. And I say with a lot of confidence because, you know, uh, I think I'm a good trainer, and people have passed with me. So, with confidence, I can say that yes, if you train with me, you will not go disappointed. I'm done. Ghazal will send all the details regarding when the courses are starting. If you have any questions, please shoot. I will take all the questions one by one. Yes, yes, I'm live for questions now. Let's have our first question, Ghazal, please. Oh, this one, right? Yeah, so someone asked advice on how to stay motivated for this exam. The best way of staying motivated for this exam is book the exam. You book this exam and you will stay motivated. That is the first motivation you will get. Just book the exam. Okay, 120 days, 90 days from now, just book the exam, right? So that's one example. And second is making micro habits. So Tony, if you make micro habits and dedicate time every day, you will get motivated. The best motivation is the exam. Book the exam, right? What is the next question? Dhyaneshwar, great. If you have booked the exam, jump in, start preparing. How does CISSP enable product managers to convert a PRD into a threat model without becoming a security engineer? Right. Okay. So, Anurag, slightly a deep question. If I'm a product manager, if I'm a CISSP, and today you make me a product manager, I will understand all the risks, starting from administrative risks, technical risks, uh, to process risks. Okay. So why do I say that? Because today we are building a product, and though I'm not the product manager, but I definitely keep guiding the product manager that look, these are the aspects which you need to look into from security perspective. And uh, threat modeling, for threat modeling, you necessarily don't need to do a CISSP. There are great threat modeling frameworks available once you are into product management roles. But yeah, for building that threat modeling and bringing it to understand with the product is where you need CISSP. I'll be honest with you, right? So as a product manager, I won't say that you need to be a CISSP, but uh, getting the knowledge of CISSP and how you can build a better product, a secure product, is where CISSP helps you, right? Threat modeling, there are multiple frameworks available. There is Stride, there is Pasta, there is Dread. Okay, so models are available, frameworks are available, but to put my knowledge into that framework, I need the CISSP knowledge, to be honest. I hope I've answered your question, Anurag. Tony, yes, manager mindset is relevant. Of course, your seniority, your experience does help in passing this exam. Those who are experienced pass this exam much more easily. I'll be honest. The manager mindset does help, of course. How do you track 90-day progress? We uh, we create a tracker. Of course, we create a tracker. We create three trackers. One tracker for first revision cycle, second tracker for the second revision cycle. We create strength and weak areas, subsets, and we track them on a simple sheet. And you can build an AI agent also today. Okay, Chetan asks how it is better than PMP. PMP is a project management professional certification, right? CISSP is how to manage information security. If you are a project management professional already in information security, getting a CISSP will help you in applying your PMP knowledge onto managing information security. How are employees getting affected? Well, everybody has to be on top of AI to not getting affected, right? So this is a very, very subjective question. How are you getting affected by AI? Well, I have tried AI a lot. I am not affected till now. I have to grow with AI. I have to understand AI. I have to apply AI. I have to make use of AI. I have to be on top of AI. So I think as far as CISSP certified professionals are concerned, they are heavily in demand. Right. How CISSP cert exam is support network security support? I didn't get that, Ananda. I didn't get that question. How CISSP cert exam is support network security support? Okay, how CISSP certification will support a network security professional? Oh, many ways, many ways. You can start looking at mid senior, senior level roles. You are looking at, once you see, you only want to remain in network security. Well, you will rise to a certain level, and after that, what? Are you not looking at expanding your horizon? Are you not looking at understanding security aspects in other domains, or do you want to remain siloed only in network security? For me, learning network security is a 2 month job. I've worked with multiple firewalls from Cisco 2000 series way back in 2002. If I would have remained in firewall only, fine, I might have known how to configure an SD-WAN, SD, next generation firewall. I've put my hands there also. But the great fun is getting multi skills. And of course, CISSP certification will help you not as a network security engineer, but overall a security engineer. You'll start looking at security from a different perspective altogether. You start looking at security as a management statement, management problem, and not a technical problem. Doing if you are if you are slightly technical professional from the armed forces, it's a very good course for you. I have no doubts about that. You can go and visit my profile. Multiple people have passed this exam from the armed forces. Armed forces are the people who pass this exam in no time. If you have affinity towards information and cybersecurity, or you come from the technical backgrounds, either you are a signals officer or you are from the Air Force who have managed networks in Air Force or Navy, then of course it's of course important. If you are from some other arms, then you have to align yourself, right? You have to align yourself to understand whether this suits your requirement or not. It cannot be a blanket that I do this and I'll land up with a great job. No, that would be wrong. Okay, what is the next question? If you want to move into audits, you need to get CISA, you need to get ISO 27001 LA, you need to get audit based certifications. All auditors ultimately get CISSP, right? So you can start with CISSP, do CISA, get ISO 27001 LA, you're ready for the audit market. Sure, Rajat, anytime drop in to my office. It's in Noida, and you can, Great Noida, you can drop in anytime. What is the full CISSP study package? Abu, you need CISSP 10th edition, Cybex, you need Cybex 4th edition, you need my Cornell notes, and that's it, man. And that's it. You don't need anything else. Don't spend money anywhere. How will it help a software developer? If you are a software developer and you don't understand security, you are a bad developer. Okay. You're a bad developer. I won't say you should do a CISSP, but you should know all the software development lifecycle concepts, all major risks on software, all pipeline risks, all code review risks, how to do static testing, dynamic testing. And that's one domain of CISSP. I'll be honest. Software developer, tomorrow, if you go to, yes, will we get a Discord group for batch two? We are not on Discord. Discord is not very famous in India. We have a WhatsApp group. Okay. We have a WhatsApp community. We have a LinkedIn community. We have a uh, WhatsApp is the favorite because all over the world WhatsApp is there. Discord, very few people use. Though I am very heavily into Discord, but we are there more on WhatsApp, right, Sunil? Any other questions? Right, guys. I'm not those one of those trainers who will make you do 1,000 questions. No, I only work on concepts. You, if you've seen my approach, I work in making your base strong. I'll make your base strong, and because this exam cannot be passed without your involvement, no matter how many questions I make it. So, questions is later. I get into basics and form security basics from ground up. So anybody who trains with me uh, goes back with very strong security fundamentals, and that's why I only do CISSP and ISO 27000 at times. Other than CISSP, I don't take any other trainings. Right. I'm done for the day. If you have any questions, please let me know. Any career issues, please let me know. Any way you would like to come and join with us. Numbers are flashed, and you can, you know, more than will be more than happy to have you on in our academy and get you trained. I'm done. Any more questions? None. Thank you, then, Sue, and thank you for your time. And see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.